Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. and today I'm reviewing One Round from Devere. One Round is a party game for 2 to 12 players in which players are attempting to, I guess, play a single round. It's probably called One Round because you play a round, although there's many games in which you play a round. It works. You're making a circle, so it kind of works. But in the game, you're basically trying to find the word association between two different words. So for example, with more context, let's explain how this plays out. Right now I have set up our starting cards. I have car, I have speakers, and I have gummy bear. I chose those three because that's actually from the challenge book. The challenge book, well, ignore that. We'll come back to the challenge book later. I have 3 words on the table. We'll talk about this later. With those 3 words, you also have 12 cards in the center over here, and I'm going to go ahead and draw one. I don't know what number this is right now. I haven't pre-seeded the deck. We have car, speaker, and gummy bear. I'm going to flip the timer, and I got a thing. Okay, cool. Let's go with, I don't know. I guess no, that's not good. Let's go with, I'm terrible at this game. I'm terrible under pressure. We'll go with, this is terrible. Okay, I wrote my word. My word is camping. Now, you don't actually have to write the word before the timer runs. You just have to have a clue going. But I have a clue right now. My clue is camping. So right now, your goal is to figure out this number is between 1 and 100. Although it's not 100, it's not 33, and it's not 66. But which number is it? So right now, if the clue is camping, am I trying to get you to place it between car and speaker, between speaker and gummy bear, or between gummy bear and car? Where would you put the word camping? And if you guessed between car and speaker, that makes sense to a degree. I think it's possible, but I went with camping because it's between gummy bear and car. I'm thinking bears and car travel camping, car going. It made sense to me. If you got it right, amazing. If you got it wrong, go ahead and flip a heart. You've lost one of your lives. You only have 3 lives to go. I'm going to pretend we got it wrong, just so I keep showing you the game. Now I'm going to go ahead, once again, doing the same thing, except now I might draw between 66 and 70, in which case it needs to go between these 2 words over here. So let's go ahead with the timer. Let's flip it, and we have, okay, I guess that. Again, I have things that I'm trying to do, and we're going to go ahead and, I don't know. We'll just do this. Okay. I wrote TV. TV is my clue. Okay? This is terrible, by the way. The challenge is actually a little harder than I thought it would be, but TV. Okay? So where would you put TV? Is it between car and speaker, speaker and gummy bear and camping, or camping and car? Where would you put this word? And if you guessed between speakers and gummy bear, you're correct. I thought that it would be something you watch TV. TV needs speakers. You have snacks with the TV. So I did gummy bear. That's my association between those 2. That's basically the game, except for a few small things. Number 1, you're trying to go through all 12 cards. Keeping in mind, you obviously have an entire stack of cards, but you're not trying to play through those. You're trying to play through the 12. That's how you win the game. Number 2 is there's a challenge mode. That's what I did over here. The challenge mode is a little harder. What the challenge mode does is it has a whole bunch of pages full of different categories where it tells you, in my case, it said choose a vehicle for one of the words, so I chose car. Choose something you find on the desk, so I chose speaker. And choose something sweet, so I chose gummy bear. Those are the 3 things I chose, matching the categories they wanted me to go ahead and do. There's also difficulty adjustments to the game, things to make it a little easier or harder, as well as the 1 life mode, which is my favorite way to play. The 1 life mode is where you only have 1 life. As soon as you lose that life, you go into overtime. Overtime is something that's in the regular game. It's just that usually you have 3 lives till you get there. Overtime, the timer has to keep running the entire time. You go ahead, you give your clue, you have the until the time runs out to give your clue. Then your team has until the time runs out to guess your clue. And you're going back and forth. If the timer ever runs out, you lose. It's a great way to hopefully try to win, even if you run out of 3 lives, except in 1 life mode, you do that as soon as you get 1 single thing wrong. Do that until you get all cards successfully on the grid, and you win the game. Although last asterisk is you can't win the game by losing your last life, meaning normally, if you do something wrong, so for example, let's say you had placed camping over here, we still move it over here, and then you lose a life. Now, you can't do that to win the game. To win the game, if you do that on your last life, let's say we had done that on the very last life, we put it over here, we lose the life, you didn't win, you have to draw another card and keep going because you have to win on a successful guess, not a, oh, you happen to manage to use a life to not die, I guess. That is how you play one round from Devere, which means it's time for my review of what I like, don't like, and can see as not liking, starting off with what I like. Starting off with what I like is this word association games. I like word association games that do things like this. I like games like Decrypto, Codenames, Just One, Alibi, So Clover, all the games that have you trying to connect pairings of words by being clever. I love that genre because it allows me to feel clever, or sometimes really, really stupid. That's also possible. But it gives you opportunity of how do you like, it's first of all, it's nearly infinitely replayable. It's not like one of those games where you're like, until you remember all the cards, then you're done playing. It's all, in this one, you're making up your own words. There is no deck of cards. There's no expansion pack with like 20 new words. The expansion pack is adding another player to the game. They'll bring their own words to the table because you're constantly trying to figure out which words go together and which ones synergize with others. What do you do to connect a light bulb and a, I don't know, an X-Wing? How do you connect those things? They're a very different conversation than connecting an X-Wing and a car. In two entirely different ways you're going to connect things as you slowly build this board, and it gets harder and harder as you do so. And I'd say there's a good level of difficulty, some asterisks that, but a good level of difficulty, especially with the adjustments that the game adds, that you can make it harder or lower, or harder or easier. Although, like I said already, One Life is my favorite mode. It ups the stakes, and especially if you've played this game enough, I do think that extra level of difficulty is helpful to the game. Because the only other thing you could really do is like shorten the timer or add more cards, and you could always do that. You could just make a stack of 15 cards, the game will get harder. One Life to me adds a nice level of adjustment if you're finding it's a little too easy. The game takes 2 seconds to teach. It plays in a single round. It plays relatively quickly. Overall, it hits all the boxes of a good party game, and the challenge mode is a nice little extra if you are finding. Normally the way I do it is assuming you're playing with at least 3 players, and honestly, I think this is a game you should play with at least 3 players, despite the fact that it can play with 2. What I usually do is I just have players each choose one of the starting cards, write down a word, and then put it out. But if you're playing with challenge mode, you can do the same thing, but you assign different things. You're doing a vehicle, you're doing something on a desk, and you're doing something sweet. Overall, the challenge mode adds a nice little extra level to the game. As far as things I don't like in the game, 2 things. One is the game does drift a little bit more towards synonyms over ideal clues. More often than not, you're trying to find something that matches one of the clues, and it just drifts a little closer to that thing. It doesn't necessarily come across as clever as some other word matching games. And then along those notes, along those lines, I would say that the timer in this game, as much as I don't mind timers in games in general, in this case the timer in the game shifts it to a little bit more from a clever game where it's about finding the perfect word in order to make it into a speed-based game in order that you're under pressure and you're trying to figure out a word as fast as possible, which is less my go-to in the genre. I like the feeling clever part. Granted, if you remove the timer, you'd have to find a different way to make it more tense. Again, maybe just always play One Life mode. Honestly, here, we're gonna get rid of the timer over here. If I play this game with One Life mode and 15 cards, that combination with no timer might be the way to go. Granted, if you remove the timer, you are changing the entire game, and you're also making it so that players run the risk of just waiting for that perfect clue forever. But I will say when I play other games, again, games like Codenames, So Clover, that are very similar in what it's doing, I don't find I need the timer to make the experience good. For me, if anything, the timer changes the nature of what I want this game to be. As far as I can see, others not liking, the pressure of the timer. Although for different reasons. For me, it's not the pressure I mind. I just mind how it shifts the game from like an ideal clue to just speed-based. Some people don't like timers in general. This game definitely has that, and as well as the fact that this is one of those games that, like any clue-giving game, you are a victim to whatever ideal clue the person gave. As much as I thought camping was the best option for gummy bear and car, well, it's not that I thought it was the best option, it's that I was under a time crunch and I just chose it. Sometimes you play this game and you're like, oh, you put that between that, yeah. I see how that made sense, I guess. Like, that definitely is a thing that will happen in this game when you're playing, I guarantee you it. Maybe don't go to One Life mode until you've ironed out those kinks in your group. As far as final thoughts on One Round, this is one of the more anticipated games I had at Gen Con. I had heard good things from people who played it. I love the genre of games like this. Again, as much as I love a good heavy Euro for 2 hours or a nice Ameritrash with miniatures, area control, pick a genre, I love lots of games, but I love a good accessible party game that just delivers fun times after fun times and continues to impress. And so I was very much looking forward to this based on the feedback I heard from others and just the very nature of what it is. And I will say I like it. Not as much as I thought I would. I'm coming in at a 3.5 out of 5. It is still a great game that I would never say no to. The only problem is I don't think I would suggest it over competitors in its space. Other games that are giving me this party feeling, I think other games are a bit more my vibe. This is a word association, word combination game, and I just think I'd rather play some of the other games that do this kind of thing. So it's still a great game, just in a competitive space with games that I personally like better. A 3.5 out of 5. As far as other game recommendations, first of all, So Clover. I mentioned it already, but So Clover has become one of my favorite games doing what this game does. It's a perfect blend of cooperative, of allowing players to take their time coming up with the word, but doing so in a way where all players are coming up with the clues at the same time, so that you're not wasting time waiting turns, where it's just where the timer does kind of help for this. So Clover to me is one of the best games in this genre. And then also check out Just One. It's a little different in the typical word association like this one is, but it's a very fun game for a good group of people that allows for a lot of laughs and a lot of fun as you attempt to figure out how to connect words with just one other word. And then I mentioned at the beginning that Allplay is a channel sponsor. If you go to allplay.com, you can find a variety of games both from Allplay as well as their partner publishers. And for this one, I'm definitely going to recommend Alibis. Alibis is from Allplay, and it's another game that has become probably second to So Clover for me as far as one of those games I pull out when I just want a fun, simple time of combining clues and trying to figure out how to eliminate the one player, the one number that is left without an alibi. In any case, until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. Hope you found this review helpful, and as always, I hope you have a good one.